Hi, it's Ariel Serber at the Israel Chesed Center. I'm with Rabbi Yaakov Trump. We're going to talk about his involvement here and other community um, initiatives that are going on and happening and being involved, supporting Israel. So maybe introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Sure. So my name is Yaakov Trump, been involved in the Young Israel Lawrence Leaders as a senior rabbi, and like everybody else, was just pulled into all of this as October 7th happened, and been trying to figure out how to move forward, move upwards throughout the course of this.
Absolutely,
and, it's been exciting.
Yeah, right. It has been definitely engaging and empowering in a certain way. I feel like obviously the horrors of October 7th were so terrible and awful, but also I think since then, I mean, maybe you can speak more about this. I think it's like the best of us has come out. So how have you seen that? How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts on
Sure. So I mean, the truth is that when I joined around, I thought that it was about teaching and giving ideas to people. That's really not the main part of it, although that certainly takes a little piece of it. The main idea is motivating people to get involved, because people only really care about that which they are doing, which they're actually actively involved with. And unfortunately, with October 7th, with all the atrocities and terrible things that came from it, it also gave us the opportunity to find the October 8th Jews. And those are the folks who afterwards realized that they really want to do something and they really want to get involved. And it's being able to try to motivate those people to do the right thing. And the Chesed Center has really proven an incredible resource in that respect, where we take regular folks, people who might not necessarily be even writing the hugest checks, but people who can just roll up their hat and roll up their sleeves and get down into the mud and make a big difference, bag by bag, item by item, chizuk by chizuk, connection by connection. And that to me has been the greatest service to Klal Yisrael, not just for the recipients, for the doers.
Yeah, no, it helps them, but it also helps the one that comes and shows up. I think just showing up matters so much. Can you talk about like your background, your connection to Israel, the state, the land, the people, just from going back a little bit?
Sure. So I mean, I grew up in South Africa. And South Africa, unlike America, is very much a Zionistic Jewish community in many ways. The Aliyah rate is much higher per capita in South Africa than in America. So it's very much part of the water one drinks there. Having said that, it's still diaspora. So for me, it was a very moving experience to go to Yeshiva when I was in Kerem Yavne in Israel, and to see what religious Zionism actually means, and not just as a flag waving, but actually as in. I remember one of the moments that struck me was when there was on the night of Yom Ha'atzmaut in Yeshiva, when they were singing Shir Amanos to the tune of Atikva. And I was like, so it took me, just like it's real. It's real. It's like people are living real lives, living really essentially a Tanakh age, which is right now.
It's amazing.
So it's been a very, very moving experience, and that is where our future is, and that's where the book's being written. But I'm happy that while we're in the diaspora, that we can perhaps contribute part of those, maybe even if not the Psukim of Tanakh, but maybe the Mefarshim of the new Tanakh, which is being written.
So, and speaking from the diaspora, how can we here be connected, stay connected, you know?
So there's different ways that people phrase this, but I would argue that the success of the Jewish community in the diaspora will be dependent on their level of involvement in the Judaism that they are living. So there's not only one way to do that. So there's lots of ways to do that, but Judaism will only be successful in action, which means to say is that when people are actually doing, expressing, loving, and sharing what they have. And so Israel at this point in time is really providing that incredible cashier for so many people who otherwise perhaps would be apathetic, indifferent too. So this is allowing people to really step up, make that connection, and realize that their story didn't start in the last generation and won't end in the next generation. They're part of something greater, and being part of that, I think, has been a tremendous chizuk to those people who are now reconnecting to themselves, to who their identity is through this process.
Yeah, and how have you found all that to be impacting the people of Israel when you have conversations with either, it could be close family members or people you know, or maybe
all the time? So I was just speaking recently to Kimchi, Shalom Kimchi, who's the head of the Rashatot B'nai Akiva. They have, I think, 24,000 students in the B'nai Akiva Yeshiva system in Israel. And he was describing with his own children. So he has besides having thousands of Talmidim who are in the army, they have unfortunately 48 widows. But from the last of Balgrima, the yeshiva. But he was describing when his son was going to the army, his son was saying, I'm wearing a helmet from Canada, I'm wearing a flashlight from New York,
Right.
I'm wearing boots from wherever it is, Miami, and I feel like I'm not just that I feel the love, but I also feel like I'm representing all those communities
All
as well.
those communities.
And so deep in Gaza, in the tunnels, in Lebanon, in the freezing cold trenches, you have people who are actually fighting not for Israel ideologically, but even practically. They're expressing this as well. And we know that Juri's fight is never found just there. It's found everywhere. It's where it's on campus, on the street. What's happening there is going to dictate our temperature of the water right now. And so that connection has been provided incredible inspiration in two directions.
Yeah. So how have you found the Israel Chesed Center to be a part of that picture?
So the amazing thing about the Israel Chesed Center is what it's done is it's pulled from every community all the people who are motivated and energized about making a difference. And it's an amazing thing, because if it would be centralized in one community, it would be as good as the pool of that community. But this pool is larger, because what it does is it pulls from everybody. And there's so many talented people in this community who suddenly found each other. And that's the best part about it. Is suddenly you have people who have the creative ability. I was just looking at the walls, so there's a woman in our shul who's an artist. So whatever painting is up, then she's selling it for the Chesed community. There's another person just doing the runs to the airport. There's another person who's found a source to get thermal underwear. That's just his thing, right? But his thermal underwear are going to Israel right now. Everybody's doing their piece, and it's allowed very talented people to energize themselves through each other as helping Israel. And that to me is an amazing achievement.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely amazing achievement. What else would be maybe a call to action, kind of a next step that you feel people should continue in their day-to-day lives as we get further from October 7th? I do sometimes feel like you have you're on parallel tracks almost with, you got to take care of your day-to-day, but you also have to keep Israel top of mind, keep what the needs of those folks and people are.
Absolutely, it's a very hard thing, because we're all exhausted, and the truth is, as exhausted as we're feeling, Israelis are feeling much more exhausted. Right. So every time we say to ourselves that, okay, we're done, we have to remember that their children, their husbands, their spouses are still in the army, and they're still doing single parenthood, and there's a lot of collateral impact. So that's one piece of it. In terms of continuing, I believe that comes down to relationships. It means that as important as it is to send equipment, as important as it is to do events and send money, the relationships are incredibly important. And everybody here knows people who are in the army. Everybody's visited Israel and is connected to people who are there. Yeah. I believe that now the next stage of the journey is forging long-term relationships, which means even if it's scheduling sometime in the week, that one is actually calling or texting somebody who they know is in service or his family is in service. Yeah. I think that's where the long-term healing is going to be important, because as much as we're going to do projects are amazing, but we need to maintain those relationships. Yeah. So everybody chooses 5 people that they know. I just think about how many people who are in the army right now, who are going through a difficult time or displaced, whatever it is, and maintain that connection. I believe that would be an incredible debt to clients.
I think especially also so many people are grieving in certain ways. So I've read reports and heard about this, that when you are in grief, sometimes the best thing people can do is just reach out. How are you? How are you doing? So this is a national traumatic event. So this can definitely be
100%. And it's precisely because the Chesed Center has provided opportunity of not just sending but also connecting. Yeah. I would say it's to now deepen those connections, which means to say is you've met the people, you've had those interactions, you've had the Thanksgiving that's been sent to you. Now pay it forward. Just try to maintain that relationship. And it's incredibly rewarding. One of the things we do through our shuls, we paired up families of people who have displaced families, and it's really long lasting, and it's very motivational to see when they come together. And we can do that. We don't need necessarily a coordinator, just the people we've met. You sent boots to somebody, right? Yeah. You got a thank you text. We keep that person in connection. Now, when they tell you the next thing's happening, work through the Chesed Center to figure out what they need to get, but then maintain the relationship. That itself is going to provide an incredible, we'll call it net of comfort and also support through the ongoing crisis.
And that's definitely the role that we have to take here.
100%. 100%. I have to say that we are all exhausted, but we just like when it comes to certain times in life where you just have to step up when you have a new child. It's like at a certain point you are too tired, but you just step up because it matters. And this is a time where we're really called. Exactly. We think about now, we're 446 days. We're 443 days as of today. God forbid, we should not reach 446 days. It's a long time. And to a large degree, much of it hasn't changed. There's still people in hostage, there's still people displaced, there's still people grieving, which means to say the story is not finished. So we may think it's finished, we may feel like we need to close that door, but the story is really to a large degree continuing, which means to say that we need to be able to step up for that as well. And I really commend every single person who's gone above and beyond. You know who you are, and many people don't know who you are. And it's still worth it. It's still worth making that difference. Really, it's a huge shakar to everybody who's continuing to step up for the Jewish people.
That's amazing. Thank you very much for those words.
It's really a pleasure. Continue spreading it, and just one will guarantee.
Yeah.
Your children are watching, and
Absolutely.
they're going to understand what you're learning from.
I'll definitely take that
And
example and go forward.
They will only do what we do. If we're taking extra time that we don't have to give, love and care and money, they're going to notice that, and that's going to maintain their Jewishness. As actually your children should notice, your grandchildren should notice what you do. Thank you for being here.
Amen. Thank you.